So in addition to Sunday morning, we also have a weekly midweek rehearsal that we use to prepare for the upcoming worship service. But there's been moments where I've been tempted to cancel these rehearsals indefinitely. Maybe you've asked yourself the question, should I stop doing midweek rehearsals with my worship team? Hey, it's Dave Dolphin at practicalworshipblog.com, sharing ideas, tips, and practical advice for the everyday worship leader. And for the last 5 years that I've been at our church, we have a weekly midweek rehearsal that happens on Thursday nights. So we also get together on Sunday morning, but a bulk of the preparation happens during that Thursday night rehearsal. I actually have a video on the channel where I explain our rehearsal process in detail, from working with the band to working with the singers and the final run-throughs and all the things that we do. I'll link that up in the card right over here and also in the description down below. But my goal is that I want to leave Thursday evening feeling like if we had to wake up first thing Friday morning without any kind of sound check, any kind of prep, any kind of rehearsal, that we would be okay. Now, that doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen most of the time, and it takes a lot of stress off a Sunday morning because on Sunday morning, we're just finalizing little details. But there are times that we have to cancel that Thursday night rehearsal. Holidays like Thanksgiving or Christmas can make a rehearsal just not an option. Or we might be in a season where there's a lot of people sick or a lot of people out on vacation, just a lot of people out, making an effective rehearsal just next to impossible. Or sometimes we just might schedule a simple acoustic set that doesn't have a lot of moving parts, and so a rehearsal really isn't necessary. And in these cases, we just pull it all together on Sunday morning, and it generally works out. And because it generally works out, it makes me start to question whether or not we actually need these midweek rehearsals at all moving forward. Maybe we're at a point that these rehearsals are no longer necessary. I'm sure that they help, but maybe we can get away with not having them, that we're so comfortable with each other as a band and so comfortable with the typical service format. And I'm sure that people wouldn't mind getting their Thursday evenings back. These are the kinds of things that are running through my head. And as successful as those Sunday morning services are that did not have the Thursday night rehearsal, I always conclude that the rehearsals need to stay. And here's 5 reasons why. Number 1, the midweek rehearsal is the reason why you're so comfortable. The reason why we can skip a rehearsal every now and then is because everyone knows the plan. But everyone knows the plan because of all the weeks prior of all those rehearsals. And plans change over time as people change and needs change, and you probably don't notice it week to week, but I bet we do things really differently now compared to 6-9 months ago without even realizing it. If we got rid of the midweek rehearsal indefinitely, we'd be cutting off the very thing that makes it possible for us to do the weekend without the Thursday rehearsal, and eventually that would catch up with us. Number 2, introducing new songs becomes really difficult. The reason why we can pull off a Sunday morning only service with ease is that it's familiar. We're not hashing out new arrangements or learning new parts. We're just brushing off the dust of songs that we've done before. I almost never include a brand new song in a weekend that we don't have the midweek rehearsal. It's always going to be songs that we're already familiar with. Number 3, introducing new team members also becomes difficult. Our people are very comfortable with their positions. They understand their role within the band, who they're listening to. They know how to dial in a mix on their in-ear monitors. They're comfortable with playing with a click track, but they didn't always used to be that way. And new team members also need the experience to get comfortable over time during a rehearsal. Number 4, you're not growing when you're just playing out of your overflow. When we have a weekend like this where there's no rehearsal, we're just going with what we already know, what we're comfortable with, which is fine for a weekend or two, but sometimes I think we take for granted just how much opportunity there is to learn and to grow and improve in our craft when there's a weekly rehearsal process where that can be cultivated. And number 5, a midweek rehearsal is good for community. Now, I'm definitely thinking at the task at hand, all the things that need to get done in terms of arrangements, and do people know their parts, and transitions, are they smooth, how do the mixes sound, designing lights, all of those things. But I'm also very conscious just how fun rehearsal is. Fun means that we're enjoying one another's company. Fun means that we're bonding together as a group. Fun means that there's community, and community is hard to build when you just have an hour on Sunday morning. Now, I understand for some people, having a midweek rehearsal is just not an option for your situation and for your church. And if that describes you, I found a great blog post from the worship team coach that shares 5 tips of how to make the most of a Sunday morning only rehearsal. I'm going to put a link to that in the description down below. But if you already have a midweek rehearsal and you're tempted to quit like I am sometimes, I'd ask you to reconsider, because just because you can get away with it for a week or two doesn't mean that you're wasting your time the other weeks of the year. You're accomplishing more than you might realize when you have a midweek rehearsal, or maybe said another way, you're taking for granted all the work that's already been accomplished when you start suggesting that maybe we shouldn't do these midweek rehearsals. Well, here at Practical Worship, we love sharing ideas and tips and practical advice for the everyday worship leader with videos just like this one. If you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. We also have a small little ebook called 20 Things I Wish I Knew 20 years ago. It's the advice that I've learned over the last 20 years of doing music ministry, and I share it with you as a free download by going to practicalworshipblog.com.